Welcome to the Sales and Operations Planning Podcast, where strategy meets execution. This is a show for cross-functional leaders who want to go beyond process and better understand what drives effective execution. In each episode, we explore the behaviors, decisions, and leadership practices that turn alignment into real business results. If you want to lead with more clarity, improve collaboration, and drive stronger outcomes, this show is for you. My name is Laurent, and today we're talking about why most S&OP implementations do not fail because supply chain leads them. They fail because they are often introduced with a supply chain mindset instead of a business leadership mindset. Supply chain professionals are usually excellent at process design, governance, KPIs, planning logic, and systems. Those are necessary capabilities, but transformation is fundamentally about changing how people think, make decisions, and behave. That is where many initiatives lose the organization. Let me explain why. 1. They sell a process instead of a purpose. Most launches begin with new meeting structure, new templates, forecast accuracy, governance. Sales immediately hears, supply chain wants us to follow another process. Instead, they should hear, this will help you win more customers, protect revenue, and avoid unnecessary firefighting. People rarely buy process, they buy outcomes. 2. They fail to engage the hearts before the minds. This is probably the biggest reason. Most implementations focus on explaining the process, the templates, the KPIs, the technology. Very little time is spent explaining why this matters, how it makes people's jobs easier, how it reduces politics, how it protects customers, how it enables growth. Logic changes minds, emotion changes behavior. Sales teams, in particular, rarely become passionate about forecast accuracy. They become passionate about winning customers, avoiding lost sales, getting products available, increasing commissions, beating competitors. Successful S&OP leaders translate planning into those outcomes. 3. They underestimate sales culture. Sales rarely wakes up thinking, today I want to improve forecast bias. They think, how do I win this customer? How do I hit my target? How do I protect my relationship? How do I beat the competition? Many S&OP programs ask sales to think like planners. The best programs help planners understand how sales thinks. That changes the conversation completely. 4. They create compliance instead of ownership. Many implementations become, sales must submit the forecast, instead of, sales owns the commercial assumptions that drive business decisions. Those are completely different conversations. People protect what they own. They merely tolerate what they're forced to comply with. 5. They speak the wrong language. Supply chain often talks about forecast accuracy, bias, frozen horizon, planning cycles. Executives and sales hear planning jargon. Instead, speak about revenue risk, customer service, cash, inventory, growth, profitability, decision quality. Exactly the same process, completely different level of engagement. 6. They optimize supply chain instead of the enterprise. Many implementations unintentionally communicate help supply chain. The organization responds, why should I? The message should instead be, help the company make better decisions. That makes S&OP everyone's process rather than supply chain's process. 7. They confuse attendance with engagement. Sales attends, finance attends, marketing attends, but mentally they're somewhere else. Attendance is not buy-in. Real engagement happens when people start saying, this is helping me, rather than, I'm required to be here. 8. They ignore organizational psychology. Resistance is rarely about Excel. It is about loss of control, fear of transparency, fear of being wrong, fear of accountability, historical mistrust between functions. You cannot solve emotional barriers with better dashboards. 9. They stop at process adoption instead of cultural adoption. This is where many programs plateau. After 6 months, templates exist, meetings happen, dashboards look better. Yet nothing has fundamentally changed. The organization still protects functions, negotiates numbers, hides bad news, resets plans outside the meeting. The process has been adopted. The behaviors have not. That is why performance barely moves. S&OP is not a supply chain transformation. It is a business transformation that happens to use planning as its operating system. The organizations that succeed are not those with the best process. They are the ones whose leaders make every function, especially sales, believe that S&OP is helping them succeed, not asking them to sacrifice for someone else's agenda. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or YouTube. I'll see you in the next episode.